You are live. You're good. I'm gonna be there. Would you like me to selfie cam so we can see see ourselves? Okay. What was that?
Oh, we need to see questions.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna switch it around, guys.
That fly was landing on my face. And it was probably
Good.
dead
It's going up
fish,
for you.
kind of fish carcass.
Yeah, keep the nipples up just for the viewers.
There we go.
Oh man.
So I was trying to peck dance yesterday and I cannot do it.
I can't do the, Hardwick can do like controllable right to left, but.
I can only slightly move the left one, but it's not visible on camera.
How do we try this? I'll try to stay flexed the whole time. What are you talking about?
James
This
passes
is
out.
normal.
30 seconds in, he passes out.
He just goes increasingly red. So guys, quick
Oh, we're
recap.
actually live
We're
right
live.
Oh
This
yeah,
was-
yeah.
This was for the public. Thanks for
Hey,
watching, guys. So we just finished some mixed modal chipper intervals.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
What are you
I'm
talking
looking
about?
at James's
Just
Right
absorbed.
pectorals.
Carl, walk us through what we did.
Ooh, yeah, 3 10-minute chippers. Chipper number 1 was 50 cal row.
Well, they're all 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Yeah,
Just
50,
so it doesn't
40,
give you a hard
50,
time
40,
trying to
30,
figure-
20, 10.
Remember all the
Number
movements.
1, row for 50. 40, we did box
Box
jumps. 30, we did ring push-ups.
push-up.
20, we did,
Ring pull up.
no. Yeah, ring pull-up. 10.
Worst combo.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah,
That's
you
for
guys
the
are
ski.
wrong.
Georgia, you go.
Okay, so
It was
50, 40, 30, 20,
10.
Bike Erg, air squats, hand release push-ups, toe to bar, alternating power snatches,
Yeah.
Dumbbell,
dumbbell,
not barbell. that'd
not
be weird.
barbell.
That'd be
Super weird. Don't do that, guys. Row, box jump step down, push-up, strict pull-up, dumbbell power clean,
Yep, that's
Yep.
right.
and then ski, lunge, ring push-up, ring pull-up, dumbbell front squat, HAF,
Half.
half.
Heavy as
Frig.
friggin' A.
Frig.
Heavy
Yeah.
as frig.
Yeah, and those are all 10-minute caps.
Yep.
You gotta try to, obviously.
5-minute rest in between. We'll drop it in the comments so you guys can see it listed out.
Yeah.
But the pattern
You can
it followed.
analyze it.
Yeah.
I
Drop
feel like
it in the
Georgia set
comments.
me up for failure. She's like, Carl, I know you're not ready for this.
And
Can you
I
walk
know
us
the
through-
answers.
Can you walk us through?
Well, you seemingly were the only one with brain cells after we were done.
Yeah.
That's why
You
we
remembered
asked.
the Mythbusters we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's true.
But the pattern was cyclical, then a squat pattern, then a push pattern, then a pull pattern, and then a weight activity at
Yeah.
the end
Yeah, I
across
forgot
all
about
of
that.
them, which
Yeah.
was that was a fun challenge, figuring out.
It's a fly. He's back. Jeez.
He's an assassin. We have a, look, he's on my head right now.
He is right there.
Don't slap me.
But it was
We
a
have
fun
a fly
challenge
assassin.
designing them, figuring
Yeah.
out like based on the patterns what is going to fit inside that we're going to realistically be able to complete or almost complete in
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
Yeah, we came in and we said, the first thing that we all said was, we don't want to do anything overly challenging.
Yeah.
But I think that's a reminder that your effort can determine how challenging something is, not necessarily the exercises.
Yeah,
you
for sure.
choose.
But it's relatively challenging.
Yeah.
Right? It was,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, we could have done a little bit heavier load and more dynamic gymnastic stuff, and that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
would have raised it. So I think we tried to move further.
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
But I agree with you. Yeah, you think you're relatively making it easier, but I think you just have this engine of not just half-assing.
Yeah.
You say, oh, I may as well work hard
Yeah.
at it. But it was a good modalities chosen that forced you into that. I think.
Yeah.
I was mentioning the upper density stuff. I don't do a lot of. That was a good learning for me today.
Yeah.
Just to do like 20 ring pull-ups in a row when you're just looking at the rings. Like, okay, 1, 2. You know, I don't do a lot of that.
Yeah.
A good funny story on that, which probably won't take too long. But the first realization of this.
Fucking fly.
This first realization of, you see him? You can hit
He's
him.
on.
You can hit him.
He left. He knew I was coming.
He's on your car.
Let me know if you're gonna hit me. First realization of this madness that you get into for exercise with .com back in the day was run 800 meters, 50 kipping pull-ups, run 800 meters, 50 strict pull-ups, run 800 meters, 50 L pull-ups. That was my first insight after doing like 2 years of just like,
Yeah,
rage
yeah.
against the machine. or heavy lifting, where you feel like it's actually useless. Like you're just stuck and you can't move. So out of that pulled all that wonderful investigation and practice with density. You know, like who could rest the fastest between objectively measured strict gymnastic stuff. And that was 13, 14 years ago, and it led into why, you know, I have three. We have that very intricately designed, strict gymnastics upper body density event. It's a pretty interesting aspect of fitness.
Yeah, I think when
when it's tested and stuff.
When people got stuck, that's when they started to strategize, how do I get unstuck?
Yes.
If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So,
as I'm saying, there's a whole world in that. Like, there's like a lifetime of trying to improve that.
Yeah.
There's lots to it. Lifestyle.
That's when you're like,
aerobic,
that's when you're like exercise specific. It's like, how can I make these pull-ups faster while still making them strict?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you're almost trying to strategize on like, how do I create buoyancy at the bottom of my pull-up going into the next pull-up to knock out 5, whereas before I would have been able to knock out 2, same time period, same amount of fatigue coming from that. So I remember those days of like strategizing on how, like what can you do with staying within the confines of it still being executed as the movement that was prescribed, but thinking about not how you cheat it, but strategize around how to make it better. That's always interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why. Sorry, that we could link in that video I did on how to improve AMRAP dynamic.
Yeah, the
reps.
whiteboard learning.
Yeah, the same things go into improving strict density.
Yeah.
Perturbations, aerobic work, pacing, all those things can add to that, as opposed to just designing these, waiting for Carl on a Sunday to kind of put them together. You actually have to like do the practice of it.
Yeah, you don't get better just looking at the rings and praying.
No, or also, because a lot of people think that, well, I'll just put it into workouts. And it's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
A lot more than that.
I'll link that video in the description shortly, guys.
Okay. Sorry, I think you're gonna ask.
I was
this, or just
literally gonna ask you, how do you get better at that
Yeah.
stuff outside of strategizing in the workout, but I think that video will do
Yeah,
a
it
good
will.
job of answering
will.
it.
Yeah, the thing, as I said, when I say there's a lifetime in there, I mean, it's a really interesting investigation because it functionally makes no sense to do density, strict gymnastics reps in a row. Functionally. Now that's a whole other thing people can just like sit with and recognize, but you're trying to get really good at something that's really unnatural. And therefore there's a whole bunch of shit that improves it. I would just, of course, be biased and say the better the aerobic system becomes, the faster people recover between those reps.
Yeah.
So whatever that looks like, that could be chewing protein better, could be sleeping, could be blood flow, could be pre-workout hydration, could be a bunch of things, but that's,
Yeah, it's funny, we talked about it the other day, but we were talking about like, you know, sometimes I'll sit on an aerobic implement and I'll think about, like I'll do like a lot of intervals or a lot of volume, and I'll think about like what the limitation is and why that is the limitation, and like possible ways to make that not a limitation. And I think it's the same thing, right? Like, you know, you're on the rings and you're doing, you know, 5, 5, 5, and you're like, oh shit, I just ran out of juice. It's like, why did I run out of juice? Is it because I don't do enough strict ring pull-ups in these types of settings? Or is there something very specific where it's like, oh, I feel like the blood is just not leaving my right anterior shoulder, and it's like, why is
perception,
the blood, you know what I'm saying?
Too.
Yeah, so it's little things like that, and I think you can kind of look at things like that and kind of reverse it and think like, why is that a limitation, and what can patch that limitation up? And is it exercise? Is it lifestyle? Is it sleep? Is it?
There's a lot, I think.
You know,
I think there's a lot of them.
So it's interesting. It's fun to think about.
But he hits on another one that's in that video. Is remember, if you want to get good at the thing, you got to do the thing.
Yes.
Right. So his point, if he was like, one of the things he could say in his brain, oh, I'm getting tired during these ring pull-ups. You better be doing ring pull-ups, and then how you do them and how you put them together. I think that takes a good coach and some good communication. Yeah.
And some good perceptions around how to attack that thing
How to
as
deal
well,
with it.
right? Because if you never do ring pull-ups and you feel this fatigue and it slapped you in the face and you've never felt that fatigue before, you're not going to know how to navigate around that fatigue because you've never felt it relative to doing a bunch of ring pull-ups. So it's like you can expect, you know, if every Tuesday, you know, you did 100 strict ring pull-ups in different variations, and you felt like every type of fatigue that you could possibly feel from that, you could look at the board before attacking this and start strategizing. When I get to 20, this is how I know I'm going to feel after I hit 7 ring pull-ups, and this is how I'm going to strategize to get through these effectively.
Yep.
Well, guys, good session.
Ring
Yeah.
pull-ups.
Yeah.
Lots of learnings inside of there.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots
the
of
ring pull-up-
limitations
yeah,
inside
the
of
ring pull-up
there.
limitation and endurance is I think is the key component for me.
Yeah.
What did you take from it?
Completely
Same
agree.
thing?
Plus the ski erg, like my biceps and lats were just juiced coming off that thing.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you just mentioned that. It's important to recognize too that we didn't all do these at the same time.
Yes.
So that had a part to play in our perception of fatigue too, right?
Yeah, when I got
with the bike.
to James's piece that he started with, in my head, I was like, don't go after that score that James just hit.
Yeah,
because
I started
James
fresh.
hit that super fresh,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's funny you say that, because I actually thought about
Yeah.
that going to that last piece.
So how you did it
Yeah.
is interesting. So if you're thinking in your head, well, how do I determine how good I was at those? In a lab scenario of n=3, on a whole other week, we'd all have to do it in a different order, and then a third week, we'd all have to do it in a different order.
Yeah.
That's the only way you would determine who did the best work, quote unquote, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
For sure.
So it's and of course, if you have all the equipment available, then by all means, go after it. And we took 5 minutes rest between the 10s.
We did.
Right, it was 10, 5, 10, 5, 10,
Yep.
3 10s. So we practiced classic OPEX language of 3 10-minute pieces, classified definition-wise as MAP 7. They were probably faster than a MAP 7 pace, in my opinion, for
Yep.
me. How about you guys?
In part, and
Yeah,
in
okay.
part they were slower.
Oh, okay.
So when I think to getting stuck on the ring pull up,
Well, slow, what do you mean by slow? Slower?
I was not breathing.
Okay, but
what I'm
could
used to
would
holding
it
on a
last for
cyclical-
40 minutes?
No.
Okay.
Good point there.
So yeah. So it was a different pace than
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because things can feel slower, but you still can't last for 40 minutes.
Got it.
Even if it's at a slower pace, if that makes sense. So mine was way too quick.
My row was MAP 7. That row piece felt very MAP 7 to me, like I could have kept that up. My ski piece was MAP.
Just the row piece or the
No,
whole row?
that whole 10-minute. Like I felt like I could keep that pace up. Just how I was breaking reps up.
Okay.
Like I felt really good on that one.
And you started with that one.
I started with that one. The ski was MAP 1. Ski was MAP 1.
Come on.
2-minute pace. And then the Bike Erg was close to MAP 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was just, I think it was the movements. It was the actual exercise selection. Like the dumbbell power cleans were pretty brutal, but it wasn't enough volume
Yeah,
to,
yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I think the row and the Bike Erg pace felt MAP 7-ish to
Okay.
me, but the ski pace.
Stuck.
Yeah, and I noticed my pace decline even
Yeah.
like on the ski as I was working through my 50 cals.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I can hold this.
Yeah.
I can't hold this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about too, right? Because they were 310s, so
Yeah.
it's like what kind of actual pace is it?
Yeah.
And that offers a lot for coaches to think about. Like, why would you want to get good at a 40-minute thing, right? Well, if you had a 40-minute race, that's why you want to get good at it. How do you practice that? Well, 10-minute intervals like that. So.
Well, guys,
Heard you here?
you heard it here.
First?
Sure.
Third?
Well, I mean, no one has ever done these 3.
No.
Think about that.
But now I think for the next 2
Well,
weeks.
first time ever.
Yeah, if you think of like multiverses,
It's a world
and all
record of
that,
these
there's
3.
someone doing exactly what we're doing right now. Actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In
In a
another
different-
For sure.
Different
parallel
dimension.
universe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah. So, at least 3 other people named
Yeah.
Carl, Jordan, and James are doing the exact same thing while recording.
Yes.
I
This
bet
thing
you.
on YouTube.
I'm beating my James, the other version.
Ooh, that's true. What did you say the other
Very
day?
meta.
We're talking about your Mac. You're getting older, and what did you say? Do you
I
remember?
think it
what
was
I'm talking
inappropriate.
about? Was it?
Yeah,
We shouldn't put that on YouTube.
Wasn't it? I don't know.
I think it was inappropriate.
That was a
I said
pretty.
something, you were like, yeah, that's what something.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Just
It's
kidding.
inappropriate.
That
Anyways,
never
it was a good
happened.
Mac joke. You guys should try to figure something out for that.
All right, guys. Happy Sunday.
Thanks. See you.